Another skill that players use is knowledge of matchups, and I don't know if this should be a whole separate category, but like a feature match that I really like is I think it's from Shonen Jump Chicago '08, and obviously we can't get on metagame, which is too bad. But the thing I remember is that it was Lazaro Bolito versus this guy running Little City. And Little City is a deck with a lot of light monsters, and it runs a lot of like Skill Drain and Royal Oppression, continuous traps to sort of very reactive cards, so it can sort of set up its board with high attack monsters, protect them with Honest, and counter your plays. And that's what the deck aims to do. But Lazaro Bolito, he knows that, so what he does is he's going first in game 3, I think, so he goes all out and uses his whole hand, and he summons Stardust Dragon, Dark Arm Dragon, and Dark Greffer, and sets like a Deep Prison, and he has Necrogarden Engrave, and he's got this huge setup, and if his opponent was running maybe Teledad, then they would be in perfect position to counter him and just win the game outright. But since he knows they're running Little City, they really have no counter to that. And since he's set up early, their Royal Oppression and their Thunder King Ryo, they're not going to negate anything. So it was a very smart play to do that. And so again, this is sort of situational, and it requires you having knowledge of matchups, but that's the way you sort of want to be playing. If you know your opponent can't counter you, you just got to make that play, and you got to be confident in that. Another skill, and this is way too difficult to go into in a short blog, but it's deck building, and basically you want to build your deck for consistency all the time. And I mean, like OTK decks and crazy decks that rely on combos are fun, and maybe they're good for casual games. But if you're going to a tournament, you really want to draw very consistently throughout your 9, 10 rounds, whatever. And if you want to win the tournament, you just need like the best deck possible. So determining which deck that is out of like the top deck types, that's a whole nother thing entirely. But building the deck itself, like you want to cut all like the possibly inconsistent cards that you run. I remember I was preparing for a regional, and I was looking at my deck, and I was running I was thinking about running Monster Reincarnation in Light and Darkness Dragon format, and it's a pretty good tech card, but I could just see myself like drawing it early and it being really useless, so I ended up taking it out. And I did that for a lot of cards in that deck, and I ended up top 4ing that regional, so it worked out pretty well. So you really just want to consider your deck and make sure you're not going to get bogged down with bad hands. And like you can sort of complain that you drew really bad or whatever, but the fact is that if you didn't build your deck wrongly, then you wouldn't have drawn bad. So it really comes down to you. And that's sort of another point. I think a lot of worse players tend to sort of complain a lot, and that's really sort of off-putting for a lot of the good players, because they know that you can sort of control your luck in Yu-Gi-Oh. It sounds sort of weird to say, and it might be a sort of hard concept to explain, but I don't know. For example, if you have like 3 monsters on the board and it's going to be game next turn, and maybe you have a Dekoichi in hand and you set that, and then they top Dark Hole, and you're probably going to be pissed off because they top their 1 out and they killed your board, and now they have a chance to come back. But the fact is that you probably really didn't need to set that Dekoichi. So if you know that their only out is going to be Dark Hole, they top Dark Hole, they kill your board, then next turn you still have Dekoichi and can set it. So you really need to consider their outs, and if they do top Dark Hole and you set Dekoichi, that's actually your misplay. Like, it's not their fault, and you can't blame them for getting lucky. Luck is a part of the game, and you need to be very aware of it. Like, it's probably the most important thing. So yeah, you need to build your deck for consistency, and then the other point is that you shouldn't complain and be aware of your opponent's outs. So I've gone into a lot of the skills that the top players use, but really the most important thing you can do for yourself is just watch the best player you know in your area, and talk to them a lot about the plays they make in the game, and ask them to help you. And most of them are pretty nice guys. I'm sure they'll help you. And that's really the way you learn, by playing and talking to people better than you. I know that's how I learned and got better at this game. But yeah, you really just need to be in contact with those players constantly if you want to be getting better and learning how they think. And I'm pretty sure it'll be similar to the way I've talked about it in this video. And yeah, so I hope you all find a way to improve, and I hope this video helped you guys, because I enjoyed making it and going into sort of the way I think about Yu-Gi-Oh! And I hope you guys look forward to the next blog.